Today we're talking about the future of cybersecurity and transforming businesses. Our facilitator is Frank Kovacs. He's a heavyweight in the industry with over 30 years of experience leading transformations in companies. Welcome, Frank.
Thank you, Gene.
So let's talk about theme 21 in our series. It's a continuation on the digital and cybersecurity, but this time there's a deep dive into IoT. Explain what we're going to talk about today.
Well, what we've been doing is we've been going through various cybersecurity topics, and I'm very happy to be doing the one today on Internet of Things, because Internet of Things is just growing by astronomical proportions. In the industry right now, there's estimated to be over 15 billion Internet of Things devices that are being attached to the Internet, and it really is growing by the day. Due to this is, causing us to go into a lot of new areas of technology like 5G, because the existing spectrum is becoming overloaded at such a rapid pace. And it's really something that's critical for our cybersecurity going forward.
Well, it's a great conversation. Tell us about the expert panelists that sat on this conversation.
We've had a great panel of experts convened for this. They have been very interactive, providing a lot of thought leadership. The panel has been going on for several months now, but as you can see, cybersecurity is such a important factor in digital transformation that even after doing this for several months, number one, we're not at a loss for topics, and number two, our panelists remain highly charged on the topic and contribute at a great pace.
So, Frank, in your executive summary, you explained the connectedness of everything is convenient, but that comes with great risks, right?
Yes, with those risks at the top are the threats that are happening. And one of the major reasons for those threats is because there isn't a well-thought-through architecture that most of the implementations are using. And the best practices are still evolving because there's so many new devices, new platforms being introduced for the Internet of Things. Many of the companies out there are scrambling to make historically standalone devices into IoT devices. And in their zest to get it connected to the Internet, their concern isn't cybersecurity, which leaves these devices open to threats and vulnerabilities where they can be compromised and used as a way to get around the security, get access to the network, and then exploit it further into getting to databases and other areas where we want tight security.
Let's go ahead and get into your key point number one here, Frank. With IoT, obviously more things mean a lot more threat. And as you alluded to earlier, you said 15 billion connected things so far?
Yes. The worldwide estimate right now is at 15 billion. And as I said, it grows daily. The threat landscape really has the potential to exponentially explode as well because of what we were talking about with the lack of well thought out architecture and best practices in most instances. And because of that, there is a huge need to look at DevSecOps and really look at ultimately how these devices will be deployed and the programming around them to make them more secure before they're ever released into mature environment and made generally available.
And then in key point number two, you do share some things that we can actually do to stay safe. Share those with us.
Yes, what I was talking about in proactively what we could do, California has been leading in the U.S. of putting together different bills like IoT security, SB 3327. That law calls for any IoT smart device to protect the device and any information contained therein from unauthorized access, destruction, use, modification, or disclosure. We need more authorities within the United States, the manufacturers of the devices, to bond together to make sure that this concern is paramount on their list of features as they're designing these new IoT devices.
It's great. Now, I know you had a great panel, very active. Tell us about these three top experts that stood out this time.
Paulo is just amazing. He's on the site multiple times a day and contributes a lot in thought leadership. What's really great is Paulo goes across the spectrum and not only makes sure that he's responding to the themes, but also the math entries and also the media. So he's really an end-to-end type of individual that contributes a lot to the panel. Ricardo Santos and Christopher Gebhardt were also very good in thought leadership and contributing some really good insight into the panel. And it's that collaboration that we get among the panelists that really makes the results that much better.
So that sounds great, Frank. Thanks for sharing this information with us today. What's coming up next?
Next, what we're doing is we got into denial of service attacks and looking at the impact of how they exploit things like chatbots and use those botnet attacks in order to break into a firm and what the implications of that are.
Oh, I look forward to that conversation then. Thank you very much. That's Frank Kovacs. He has over 30 years success leading major transformations for companies. And Frank, we will talk again.
Thank you, Gene. Have a great day.